world is spiraling into chaos, and you won't see it coming. Can you hear it? It's no longer the sound of cracks. It's the roar of a beast devouring the global financial system. And the scariest part? You're still fast asleep. Gold and Bitcoin aren't just reaching all-time highs, they're exploding. That's the desperate scream of the wise who are fleeing a sinking ship. The ones who truly understand the game, the wealthy. They're not just buying bunkers, hoarding land, stockpiling food and precious metals. They're stripping the world of anything valuable, building fortresses, preparing for the doomsday of the system. Meanwhile, the masses, glued to TikTok, lost in mindless entertainment, waiting for that next miserable paycheck, soothing themselves with the illusion. Everything will be fine. Wake up. The brutal truth is this: an enormous economic storm is coming. Not just bigger, not just deeper, but more ruthless than anything you've ever witnessed. It will wipe out everything you once knew, once believed in. And it's already begun. Slow, silent, but with each passing second, it creeps closer. Until one day it collapses everything in a flash, burying you in its ruins. You think you still have time? No. You may not even have 1 second left. 1. The inverted yield curve. A death signal that never lies. Look at the yield curve between the US 10-year and 2-year bonds. It inverted back in October 2022 and still hasn't returned to normal. Over 500 days and counting, the longest in modern US history. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in the past 10 inversions, all 10 were followed by recessions within 6 to 18 months. This isn't a sometimes accurate indicator. It's a prophecy that has never failed in over 50 years. It's a death warrant for the economy. Veteran economists, who've seen it all, are trembling. This is the storm in plain sight. Only the blindest refuse to see it. And what's worse, this cycle is unnaturally long. Economic forces are being suppressed, distorted, manipulated, like a volcano sealed under pressure. When it blows, the shockwave will be beyond imagination, drowning everything in fire. 2. Global consumer debt, the ticking time bomb. We are living in an era of unprecedented debt, a deadly trap. In the US, credit card debt hit $1.13 trillion. New York Fed, Q4 2024. All-time high. Total household debt, $17.5 trillion. Average credit card interest, 24.6% per year. Owe $10,000. You're burning $2,500 in interest yearly. That's hell on earth. 66% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. They're walking a tightrope, one breeze away from collapse. In Canada, household debt to GDP has exceeded 100%, mirroring pre-2008 US crisis levels. A screaming red alert. Mortgage rates are wildly unstable. The middle class is being drained, squeezed, trapped with no way out. Experts call it engineered impoverishment, a system that profits massively off your suffering, enslaving people in debt, turning them into financial slaves. A fragile economy built on a foundation of sand. One shock, a rate hike, a rise in unemployment, and millions will fall, losing everything, including hope. 3. Stocks versus the real economy. A tale of two worlds. Behold the painful disconnect. Global GDP growth, IMF 2024, under 2.6%, dangerously close to technical recession. Yet the Nasdaq is up over 30%. S&P 500 has topped 5,200, defying every negative signal and warning. How can stocks soar when the real economy is dying? FOMO-driven mania. Investors pouring in blindly like moths to a flame. No logic, no fundamentals. Money flooding into hot sectors like AI, creating a hallucination of value. Central banks indirectly inject liquidity through rate cuts and stimulus. A fatal dose of financial doping. This is a colossal asset bubble, a malignant tumor growing out of control. History teaches us, every bubble ends in collapse, tears, chaos, and bankruptcy. 4. Hidden unemployment. Beautiful numbers that poison the truth. Numbers can lie, especially when governments are desperate to hide the horror. US unemployment rate, 3.8%. BLS. Sounds amazing, right? But only 60.1% of adults are actually working. That's over 90 million Americans out of the workforce. Invisible. Forgotten. In China, youth unemployment soared past 21.3%. Then the government stopped publishing the data after August 2023. When data gets buried, it means the truth is darker than anyone dares admit. This distortion breeds a full-blown trust crisis, far more dangerous than a financial crash, because it shatters the very foundation of society: trust in the system. 5. Personal savings are beyond empty. The bottom of despair. People are burning through their last reserves. They're standing at the edge of personal bankruptcy. U.S. personal savings rate, 3.2%, among the lowest in 20 years. Meanwhile, rent, food, and healthcare costs are rising 5 to 7% annually, sucking people dry day after day. Over 50% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency. That means a small mishap, a car breakdown, a medical bill, could drag them into a debt spiral and homelessness. Lose your job? Face a life event? You might survive a few weeks, maybe days. Then what? Then comes hell. This isn't a healthy economy. It's a shattered system, standing at the edge of the abyss. One gust away from total collapse. 6. Final warning. The Titanic whistle is screaming, and the ship is going down from household debt and yield curves to hidden unemployment and asset bubbles. All signs are blaring like the Titanic's horn slamming into the iceberg. But tragically, the passengers keep dancing on deck, intoxicated by illusions and deadly complacency. Crises don't erupt in a single day. They build quietly, until they explode, sweeping everything away, sparing no one. Act now, or become a victim. The rich aren't waiting for headlines. They don't trust empty reassurances from officials. They're stockpiling, reallocating, pulling out of risky areas. Right now, while you hesitate, they're acting. Episode 2 will reveal what the rich are buying, selling, and how they're positioning themselves to not just survive, but profit from the storm. And more importantly, what you can do now to protect yourself and your family before the ship goes down and drags you to the depths. Remember, preparation today is the only key to surviving tomorrow. Will you awaken and act, or will you keep sleeping in delusion, only to be drowned beneath the waves? The choice is yours.